If there's one thing I know about women and witchy women who are trying to create an abundance of vibrant energy in their lives, an abundance of vibrant energy, is that they do not have time to mess around with nonsense. And one of the ways that is very easy, the easiest way to make some magic and connect with your spiritual practice, your witchery practice, or just your own energy in your daily life is to do lunar tracking. But we are very good at convincing ourselves that we don't know how to do it. We don't have the right tools. We're doing it wrong. And that just takes too much time. And I don't have the bandwidth. Well, we're going to talk about that today, bust down or uncover three areas where we really get things wrong about lunar tracking, give you some information on it, and invite you to bring this practice into your own life. I'm Sarah, founder of the Sisters Enchanted, and I've been helping women bring a sense of presence and intuition and delightful everyday magic along with a heavy dose of confidence and badassery to their lives since 2016. And after working with, I kid you not, thousands of people through our group program, our membership, and then, I mean, the hundreds of thousands that we have seen in free class events and in our comments and emails, I know that women are overwhelmed. I know that women are busy. And I know that we are very, very quick to give up on ourselves in a moment of frustration, overwhelm, procrastination, rooted really in responding to the witch wound. We are so good at responding to the witch wound when we feel like we aren't doing enough, or we didn't say the right thing, or we might mess it up, or somebody might see us mess up. And that's exactly why we need lunar tracking, so we can create energy and stop fucking responding to the witch wound, y'all. All right. So lunar tracking is the thing. The medicine of the moon is in its rhythm, and it is the medicine that brings us back to ourselves, our own inner feminine energy, and actually is what allows us to harness the masculine solar energy that we are so often afraid to tap into, our self-trust, our confidence, speaking up, taking up space in the world, and being unbothered when we take big actions. It is working with the moon and our own energetic rhythms that allows us to create this beautiful presence in the world around us that impacts our family members, our neighbors, the people we see and come across every day in our lives. And in that way, we bring harmony to the solar and the lunar, the masculine and the feminine, and we can be that conduit for people. But first, we have to make space for ourselves, and lunar tracking is a way to do that. All right, here's what we get wrong about lunar tracking. Or first, I didn't even tell you what lunar tracking is. So stop me in my tracks. What is lunar tracking? Lunar tracking is simply tracking something according to the lunar phases. We do this at the Sisters Enchanted by using a circular graphic that shows the entirety of a lunar cycle. So the waxing and waning of the moon in graphic form. We actually have a planner, a lunar planner with one of these trackers for every lunar cycle. And then, of course, space to plan your solar life, your everyday life too. And what we want to do when we're doing lunar tracking is take a moment every day to tap into our energy. What is it that we're tracking? Are we tracking how we felt that day, an experience we want to remember, a tarot card pull of the day? Are we tracking through color, a representation of our auric energy, how we felt like we interacted with the world? Are we jotting down words, or getting creative through an artistic representation? Really, it does not matter what you're doing. What matters is that you do it, So lunar tracking, a time to sit down as often as possible, daily, ideally, to track something, and we do it by the moon. And in doing it by the moon, we are connecting to the lunar phase and saying, hey, I'm in this growing period of the lunar cycle. What am I growing in my life? Oh, hey, I'm in the releasing portion of the lunar cycle. What am I releasing in my life? And we're utilizing the micro rhythms of a lunar cycle to stay present in the cycles that we so easily sidestep because we're busy pushing, 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 going, 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 producing, 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 over serving, over giving, overstimulating, overwhelming ourselves out of our own lives. And working with the cycles of the moon reminds us to bring that cyclical energy to our own lives and take some of that medicine in the growing and the releasing, the bringing in and the shedding away. So lunar tracking helps us to track whatever it is we want to track, but also bring the rhythm of the moon, the medicine of the moon into our daily lives because we need that like a balm for our souls to remind us that there is room for going and there is room for pulling back. All right. So, what do we get wrong about lunar cycle tracking? And again, I have talked or seen or witnessed so countless people, countless women share with me their journey of lunar tracking, ask their questions, explore this. And the first thing I think that we really get sort of wrong when it comes to lunar tracking is obsessing over the details. Obsessing over the details. Getting it right stops people from doing it at all. They want to track the right thing. They want to use the right colors. They want to have the right symbols. Is this the right date? Should the full moon be colored in or not? What am I doing here? And obsessing over the details is a real good way to overstimulate yourself, overwhelm yourself, and push yourself out of the practice. So when you are doing this for the first time, I would encourage a person to simply get started and not worry so much about the rule book. One of the lessons we learn from the moon is in receiving. The moon, when we're looking at the actual moon, it just circles around the earth. It's just doing its thing in a circle. It is gravitationally to the earth, right? So it's in its zone and it's moving and it's fluid and just keeps going and it receives light from the sun. The moon does not generate its own light. It receives light. The moon is a receiving body of that solar energy. And when we obsess over the details, we do not allow ourselves to receive the freedom to see what works for us, to see what we like doing with lunar tracking and what we don't, what is actually helpful to track and what's not, what resonates and what doesn't. We we disenfranchise ourselves. We take away the ability for us to receive the insights when we obsess over the details of how we will do it. So that's the first thing that we sort of, I think that's the witch wound in action also, wanting to be perfect, not wanting to be a failure, not wanting to waste resources and be seen as, not good, not smart enough, something like that, like using a lunar tracking page and then not doing it right. So it doesn't matter. And now I've wasted a resource, I've wasted time, I've wasted energy. That's very much the witch wound in action. The other thing that we get wrong with lunar tracking is thinking we missed too much if you miss a few days or even a week. And so, oh, I might as well just not do it. I might as well just not do it. You can still pull up your tracker. And this happens to me. I eat, sleep, and breathe witchery and spirituality and the moon and the sun and the witch wound. I mean, it is my life. Besides my kids, it is my life. And even my kids do lunar tracking. They pull tarot cards. So when I tell you it's my life, it's my life. Making magic is my life. And in my life, that is a lot. I take care of aging grandparents and I'm their point person. Just this week I was at their house installing a door chime so that my grandfather with dementia, when he gets out, my grandmother hears it. We're bringing food over, we're navigating doctor's appointments. I've got two kids and I am navigating their education. They don't go to public school, so we are navigating what their educational needs are, what programs they're in, how to do all of that. I'm very much the meal planner and all these things that I do, right? It's very easy for me, even when it's embedded in my daily life, to not sit down and do my lunar tracker for a few days. So what I do when I realize, oh man, I've disconnected from presence, I've disconnected from how I want to feel, I've fallen into the entirety of solar energy where I'm pushing, 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 going, going, going. I pull up my calendar and sometimes even my photos app on my phone because I do, take screenshots, take photos of things of my family and whatever we're doing. And I'll pull that up and I will backfill the spaces that I missed. I'll look at emails, text messages, my calendar, the photos, and just jump start my brain. What was I doing on those days? And how did that make me feel? And what was going on for me that I was so busy that I just did not stop to take a few minutes for myself. And so there is not a time where you miss too much. And so you might as well just not do it. Actually, if you miss days, I think that the medicine of the moon is exactly what you need. Sit down, pull out the lunar tracker, use all the ways that you communicate, and that's one of the blessings of our technological world. You leave a footprint of what you've been doing through photos, through text messages, through emails, through work, through whatever. Pull all that up and backfill. Oh wow, what was going on for me on these days? And maybe even note that you did not take the pause, right? And so what energetically was happening that kept me from taking this pause? Another thing I think that we get wrong with lunar tracking that sort of feeds into the first two elements is that we think it takes a lot of time. And because we think it takes a lot of time, we just don't do it. We just don't do it. I just don't have the time for that. Listen when I say, hear me when I say that you only need 90 seconds to do this. Pull out the page, grab a pen, and write down a word to describe how you felt that day. Pull a tarot card and write it down. Maybe at the end of the lunar cycle, you schedule in a day and you look at all the cards you pulled and you distill it down then and you do nothing else with it throughout the cycle. It does not have to take a lot of time. So the time that you would spend scrolling TikTok or something or whatever videos that you get lost in, put it down, grab your lunar tracker and get to it. Get to it. That brings me to this really amazing tip that we use here, or that I have for you, is to create what we call a quest pack. We call it a quest pack. There's other names. I've seen other iterations of this in the last few years, but we in 2018, I think it's been years now, we hosted this event and one of the pieces was to create a quest pack. And the idea is to put your lunar planner, maybe a deck of tarot cards or oracle cards, some colored pencils, maybe some earbuds, some chewing gum, like herbal teas, whatever it is that you need to get in a moment, put it in a bag or a basket. So all of your stuff is readily available when you do have a minute. And you don't have to go looking for everything. Nothing's more frustrating or defeating than when you do have a moment, but you can't find your planner or you can't find a pen that works or whatever. Everyone's making noise. Maybe you need some earplugs, whatever it is that you need, and have it at the ready. So creating a quest pack that's easy to transport. So you can put it in your car if you go to work. And if you find yourself having a moment of free time, it's right there. You can bring it in your living room. I have an elderly cat who lives in her own section of our house, but I love having the quest pack so that I can bring that with me when I hang out with my cat. I spend time every day hanging out with her several times a day. And I just have that ready to go. I can carry it and I don't have to look for things. I don't have a bunch of stuff in my hands because it's already in a little basket or bag, ready to go on a quest as I explore my inner world through my lunar tracking practice. The lunar tracking practice, or a lunar tracking practice, is going to help you develop more presence and checking in with your energy. When we're more present in our energy, we become more intuitive. I see people doing this backwards all the time. They want to practice their intuition as if that's going to solve problems in their life. When we get present and grounded in our lives, that's when your intuition will flourish. So we want to practice presence, groundedness in our daily lives, and that will unlock your intuition. Another reason we want to work with a lunar tracking practice and over time become more free in how we creatively embrace the practice and what layers we add to it. Part of the feminine energy is in creation. And when I say feminine energy, all people need to create. We all have the masculine, feminine energies within us available to us, and to harness that feminine energy, that emotional inner world, we must create. That is a creating energy. And whether you create through what I'm doing right now, this is creating, or you create through cooking, or you create through art, or however you create, we must birth things into the world. As a people, if we are not birthing into the world something, we are a stagnant energy. And a stagnant energy does not lead to anything good for you. So, working with a lunar practice, it invites you to create because you are sitting down to write something. You are sitting down to color in the day, that lunar cycle day, with the color maybe that represents the day, or you are adding onto your practice and you're writing the astrological symbols to learn the symbols for the zodiac. So when you say, oh, the moon's in Taurus, the moon's in whatever today, that's all creating energy. So this is little experiences to allow you to deepen into a creative practice. And through lunar tracking, we are able to notice patterns in our own energy, in our own lives, and see where we sort of ebb and flow in relationship to what's going on in the world around us. So it's a wonderful reflection practice to take on a lunar cycle tracker and see, wow, when I have all of these busy days, I really crash out on this day. Or wow, when I have too much time, I really crash out on this day. And as you're using a lunar cycle tracker, you can notice those cyclical patterns that happen for you. And doing the tracker so that it's in this circular image, which is what we provide at Sisters Enchanted, you really do put it into your mind that it's a cycle because you can see it going around and around every cycle. Oh, we start again in the cycle. Oh, we start again in the cycle, as opposed to the linear image of starting and stopping, right? It goes on and on and on. So, a lunar cycle practice is uh, definitely something, a lunar tracking practice is definitely something I recommend bringing into your daily life. And I I will let you know that the Sisters Enchanted here, we do create a lunar planner every year. It's available as a PDF and as a physical planner. And the 2026 planner will be released for ordering on November 16th. On November 16th. So if you would like a whole year of lunar trackers and planner pages and tarot spreads for you, we do have that. What I love about our planner, as opposed to other options out there, is that it is made for simplicity in mind, or with simplicity in mind, and is full of lots of blank space for you to create your own sacred record of your year. What I love about it, again, versus other planners, is that we don't put in there you know, all of this extra information on the lunar wheel around the zodiac and the movement, because sometimes we just don't need that. It's just too much, or maybe you want to learn that on your own and you learn by doing. So you can fill that in on your own. And the daily planning pages to align to that solar action energy. Again, lots of blank space for you to fill in as you need, whatever works for you. So, we really want you to create your own record of the year, your own sacred grimoire, if you will, of your magical year or your very mundane practical year. And so, we made this with Enchanted Sisters in mind, who want to practice more presence through creativity, want space to make it their own, and to be in alignment with our value of not being prescriptive in how we tell you to do things or say you must do it this way. This is part of that obsessing over the details. And that is all part of the witch wound, needing, like, tell me exactly what I must do to be right. Give me, give me, give me, give me. And we don't want to do that. We want to help you heal that witch wound and embrace your creative self-trust energy and make this work for you. So this is available starting November 16th. And we do provide the PDF copy in our Enchanted Journey membership. And we get together every new moon and full moon with different members of Team Sisters Enchanted who host calls to keep us accountable to using the planner as well. So if that's something you're interested in, be sure to check that out. All right, y'all. Well, lunar tracking, whether or not you grab our planner, I highly recommend you take up a lunar tracking practice. And I'll actually put a free lunar tracker that you can register for in the comment or in the description area of this. So you can get started right away at the next new moon and take it for a spin. We want you to have this tool whether or not you want the planner. So we're going to go ahead and I'll put that in the description for you. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. Be sure to subscribe to follow along so you never miss an episode, leaving comments or reviews on podcasts, wherever it is that you are enjoying this experience helps us so much as a small business and get the word out there so that other women all around the world can take back their power, start healing and exposing that witch wound in their lives, and make every day delightfully magical, even when it feels like chaos and it's hard and nothing is going right. So let's spread the word, y'all. All right, until next time, stay magic, Enchanted Sister.